All right, this is a review of simple and compound interest. So we're going to start out with some definitions. It's formula based, but again, never get caught just trying to memorize formulas. Read your problem statement, decide on the formula to use, and then apply correctly, and then always check the reasonableness of your answers. So let's jump into this. All right, so simple interest. Got a real definition. The principle in financial formulas is the balance upon which interest is paid. Basically, it's what you put into the bank, okay, or what you borrow from a bank or a lender. Let me say it the right way. It doesn't necessarily have to be a bank. All right, simple interest. What makes it simple is this interest. Simple interest is interest only on the amount that you invest or borrow, or some people will say the original principal. That's why it's called simple interest. All right, now key formula. All right, I, which is your simple interest, equals the principal or the amount you borrow or invest times the interest rate, which is typically a percent, but you can convert to a decimal, times time. And time is always in years. So if they give you a year and a half, okay, it's 1.5. If they give you a 9-month term, you've got to convert from a 9-month term to a year term. So that's 9 out of 12, which is 0.75. So make sure you always represent time in years. All right, so here's a real quick, simple example. All right, Terry wants to buy a used truck. He borrows $7,650 from a bank. If the simple interest rate is 9% for 4 years, how much interest will Terry pay? All right, so just like with all formulas, right? Write your formula. I equals P times R times time. All right, you can identify your parts. The principal amount, $7,650. The interest rate is 9%. Now, this is why you need to be able to convert from a percent to a decimal. 9% is 0.09. All right, times the time, in this case, is 4 years. All right. Now, the question is how much interest. So all we care about is the interest portion. All right, not the total amount repaid, just the interest. So we take $7,650 times 9% times 4 years, which is $2,754 in interest. All right, now that's not the total amount repaid, that's just the interest portion. All right, the total amount repaid, if he goes all 4 years, is the $7,650 plus the $2,754 in interest. But make sure you read the questions correctly. All right, example number 2. Craig borrows $1,399 from his parents to buy a stereo. His parents charge him 3% simple interest for 2 years. How much interest did he pay his parents? Again, identify your parts. The amount borrowed, $1,399. Interest rate, 3%, time, 2 years. We're going to write our formula. I equals P times R times T. So you take your $1,399 times 3%, and I'm going to write it as a decimal this time, 0.03 times 2. and we end up, or Craig will end up paying his parents $83.94 in interest. Okay, again, that's just the interest portion. Then ask about the total amount repaid. All right, so this next example. All right, Rachel, in this case, now notice the first two examples, Craig borrowed money, Terry borrowed money. All right, in this case, Rachel is investing $5,000 in a savings account that earned 4% interest. If she kept the money in the account for 50 months, how much did she earn? How much interest did she earn? So again, parts, $5,000, 4% in simple interest, 50 months. Now, let's highlight this guy because that's different. The first two examples, and that's one of the things about being a good mathematics student, is you have to be able to see the I guess the thing that distinguishes a particular problem from the previous examples that you've worked. So last two examples, we were giving years in both cases. This time, they gave us time in months. So what you do is, same principle, all right? We want to know how much interest, so I equals P times R times T. Take your $5,000. Interest rate was 4%. Again, you can write 4%, or you can convert it to 0.04. All right, times. All right, time. All right, they gave me 50 months, but I know I need this to be in years. So we know there are 12 months in a year. So all we're going to do is we're going to divide that guy by 12. All right, because this is trying to go to years. All right, so that's the only wrinkle, is we got to add this divided by 12. All right, so now all we do is take our calculator, take our $5,000 times our 4% interest rate times our 50 months, but we want that to be in years, so we have to divide by 12. All right, and she'll earn over the course of those 4 years $833.33 in interest. And that's assuming she doesn't take any money out of her account, okay? All right, so our next example. It says Chris wants to invest $7,200 in a savings account that pays 1.6% simple interest. How long will it take for this investment to double in value? Now, this is the same principle, same formula, but there's a little wrinkle to it. So identify your parts. All right, we got $7,200 invested. All right, 1.6% simple interest. And now this last sentence is key. How long will it take for this investment to double in value? Okay, so what that's essentially asking us is, we're trying to earn $7,200 in interest. So what you do is take your formula, I equals P times R times T, okay? We want our investment to double in value, so we're just trying to get our original amount in interest. Original amount was $7,200. The interest rate was 1.6%, so we're going to go ahead and convert it to, let's go 0.016. All right, and we don't know for how long, because the question says how long will it take? Okay, so that means we're trying to find time. All right, so we gotta use a little bit of algebra here. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna leave the left side of that equation alone. So leave that $7,200 alone, we're gonna bring that down. Okay. On the right side of the equation, we're gonna take $7,200 and multiply it by 0.016, which is 115.2. And we're gonna bring down T. Okay. And so simple one-step algebraic equation we want to solve. So we're going to divide both sides by 115.2. All right, 115.2 divided by 115.2 is 1, so we're left with T on the right side of the equation. We divide 7,200 by 115.2. And we end up with 62.5 years. So it'll take him 62.5 years before his investment doubles, assuming that he doesn't take any money out of his savings account. In our next example, it says, how much would you need to deposit in an account now in order to have $3,750 in the account in 10 years? Assume the account earns 2% simple interest. Okay, now this one is a little bit more complex, but again, take what you know. Don't get in a rush. We know we've got time. It's 10 years. Simple interest, 2%. How much would you need to deposit in an account now in order to have $3,750 in 10 years? Okay. So what we want to do, we got an account balance, right? So we know balance equals the principal plus the interest. Okay, and we're going to say simple interest. Let's make it that one. All right. So now, what we're going to do is this. We're just going to say balance equals the principal plus simple interest, we know is principal times the rate times the time. Now notice, see how I slid simple interest formula right into the, I substituted essentially. I used words and then I substituted simple interest formula, right, into my equation. So now all you do is you do simple step. You say balance, which we know is $3,750. Principal, we don't know, so we're going to leave that P alone, plus the principal times the rate, which was 2% or 0.02, times 10 years. And I'm going to try to get all this on this one page. We'll see. All right, so then what you do is we're going to just do a little bit of principal plus, all right, 0.02 times 10. All right, it's just 2, or 0.2. So we're going to say 0.2p equals $3,750. All right, and let me see if I can put this together. So now, again, we've got everything we need. It's just a little bit of algebra. So, understood one, in front of P, right? And so let's move up here. So 1P plus 0.2P, those are what you call like terms, okay? So this will become 3750 or $3,750 equals 1 plus 0.2P, or 1P plus 0.2P is 1.2P. And we're just going to simply divide both sides by 1.2. So 3750 divided by 1.2 is, the original principal has to be $3,125. Now, that was a more in-depth problem, but again, it's taking what you know, taking your time, writing it out in words. All right, we substituted the formula, and then we just added, got to a little bit of algebra, and we applied a little bit of algebra, combined like terms, and we divided, we got our final answer. So we've got to invest $3,125 to have an account balance in 10 years of $3,750 if you earn 2% simple interest.